Hey everybody, welcome back to Chortle Games. I'm Jake.
I'm Steven.
And this is another Forward Compatible. This is a little series that we do on the channel where we look back at a game that Steven, played 5 years ago, at least 5 years ago.
One of these days. You'll get in one of these.
I've actually just thought of one earlier that I want to talk to you about later. But anyway, the game that 5 years ago Steven played at least, and basically take a look back and see, is it, it may be backwards compatible, but is it forward compatible with who the gamer Steven is today? So it's just kind of a critical look back on some games that we loved or didn't like, or just games that we played when we were younger. So anyway, this is kind of the way this series works. This episode is going to be us talking about the game. We're going to kind of get a baseline for what Steven remembers, how he remembers, what he remembers fondly, what he doesn't remember fondly, what he thinks the game is going to be like now, and just kind of get a baseline of his opinion. And then all week long on this channel, which you can subscribe to here or follow depending on what service you're watching through, all week long Steven's going to be live streaming his replaying of this game, and then at the end of the week, or actually next Monday, so a week from today, we'll post a full review of the game and Steven's concise thoughts on what he thought about it, if it was forward compatible, if it's still good anymore. So the game we're playing this week for forward compatible, Steven, is...
So I mentioned in the podcast, if you haven't watched the podcast from this week, you should. It was great. It was wonderful. There's been kind of a pattern since we started doing forward compatible. We started in September with JK2, then October, Alan Wake, then November was Star Wars Force Unleashed, and then December was Bastion. So it's been Star Wars, not Star Wars, Star Wars, not Star Wars. So we got to go back to Star Wars, obviously. And believe me, I have no shortage of Star Wars games.
Right.
Because that was my childhood, was playing different Star Wars games. So for this one, the Clone Wars Season 7, is that right? It's coming out next month. Like, it's close.
Yes.
And so I thought, what better game to do than the game that is closest tied to the Clone Wars and the clones themselves, Republic Commando. So you're involved enough. So
I'm involved a little bit.
We are doing Star Wars Republic Commando for the forward compatible this month. For any before I go into it, I have to have this disclaimer every single time. Everything I say in this preview here
Can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Probably. It's happened before. It's Neo 2 all over again. But basically, I am speaking purely on memory, how I remember this game.
He hasn't done any research, nothing. This is just what he remembers.
I forgot we were shooting this until like 30 minutes ago. So there's a good chance that my dates could be wrong, that my recollection could be wrong. If it is, please let me know.
But in a large way, that's the point of what this is. This is to show the baseline of what we remember.
Basically, the whole idea of these reviews is, does the game actually live up to the fondness of my memory? So we're getting a baseline in these previews so that I can see, oh man, this is the best game I've ever played. And then a few days later, it's like, wow, Monday Steven was an idiot. Something like that. So just keep that in mind. If any of this is incorrect, let me know. But just have that disclaimer. Oh, this game came out in 2003, not 2004. No, none of that. Anyway, let's go. This game actually came out in 2005. I remember that because Republic Commando it came out right before Episode 3, I think. So it was this whole big thing where the game begins when Episode 2 ends with the Battle of Geonosis, when we first meet the clone troopers. And then the campaign takes place during the Clone Wars. So Republic Commando was, in a way, the first time we saw the Clone Wars outside of those 15-minute or so short episodes, that they used to do on Cartoon Network. So like Republic Commando was us being like on the front lines as a soldier in the Clone Wars. It was really cool. It plays like a tactical FPS like Rainbow Six or something like that, where you've got your character and then I think 3 squad mates with you, and you can give them commands like go here, shoot that, take cover here, all that kind of stuff. So I haven't played a game like that in a while. I'm really excited to do that again because I love squad-based single-player shooters. So the story follows the group of clones. Let's see if I can remember their names, just so you guys can hold this against me later. There was, I want to say Ace, or it's some like pretentious name that a guy in charge would give himself, like Ace, Chief, One, something like that. But he's the character you play as, and he's basically the leader of the squad. Then there's Fixer, who's like the hacker / mechanic or something like that. The Scorch, the demolitionist, and then Sev, who was just the ruthless killer that is like has painted his armor in blood. That's Sev.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they all have their own personalities, which was kind of weird because all the clones are clones. Right. So they should all sound the same and pretty much act the same because they're raised in the same environment to be the same way. But this game, I didn't see that as an issue in this game, or at least I don't remember seeing it as an issue because, I mean, it wouldn't be interesting to play a game where you're commanding a squad of 4 people that look exactly like you, that are literally clones. Yeah. So I don't remember ever being bothered by it, but I remember the game being a pretty dark take on Star Wars, especially at the time, because this is before we got something like Force Unleashed, where you play as the bad guy and you brutally kill people that were heroes in the movies. Right. But this game was like, it had elements of horror in it. I remember one of the levels, I think it was like a starship level, being kind of creepy because you don't know what you're going up against for a while, and your team is picked off one by one to where you don't know what happens to them. Like, you lose communication. So it's like, kind of becomes a horror game for a little bit. And it was a dark take where, like, you have a wrist knife, for example, that you could, like, go up to enemies and, like, stab them with the wrist knife. And if it was a droid, like, oil would spill on your mask, and then, like, a laser would, like, clean it off. Or if it was a Geonosian, their, like, purple blood would, like, splatter on your mask, and the laser would have to take, like, it was interesting. It was an interesting place to find Star Wars in 2005. But the shooting mechanics were okay. I don't remember thinking that they were great, but the gun was really cool because it was a modifiable gun where you could put like a sniper attachment on it, or a shotgun attachment, or a rocket launcher attachment, and then there were of course other alien weapons. But it was a kind of short game, but I remember just really enjoying the game while I played it. I only played it once. And when I did play it, it was on the original Xbox, and it was like maybe in 2009. Like it's probably been 10 years since I played this game.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. Anything you remember not liking about the game?
Not liking. The length was kind of rough because when you hear like, oh, this is a game that's about the Clone Wars. That's pretty cool. You want to go to a lot of planets. And if I remember right, there are 3 levels. And of course, that doesn't mean like there are multiple levels within the, let's call them missions, but they take place in one planet. One of them is Geonosis, which I don't really count as being like, oh, you're going into the Clone Wars, because we saw that already. It was like at the time this game came out, it wasn't new territory for us. Another one is a Republic gunship, and then the last one is Kashyyyk, which is the Wookiee home planet. And I think those are the only 3 levels. So, I mean, I don't really consider it a flaw of a game if you walk away from it being like, I want more.
Right.
That just means that you really enjoyed the game for when it had you, but just fizzle it out a little quick. So that there was that. I feel like I remember certain parts of the game being kind of frustrating. From a gameplay standpoint. AI was not refined at that point. So they could take commands, but they couldn't think for themselves very well. I feel like that was a problem. I feel like the more I'm thinking about it, the guns weren't very responsive, and by that I mean I feel like you spend a lot of time shooting battle droids. And if you know what battle droids are, you'll know that it's probably not very satisfying, because when you think of like a shooter game, you think of like aim for the head, which is a nice circular object to kill things quickly. Or aim for, like, basically the battle droid has a very slim, narrow body shape. So like aiming for the head is kind of difficult. And I feel like the game didn't have very punchy gunplay to where when you shot something, you just kind of shot it till it lost a limb or something or blew up, but you didn't feel like that. Call of Duty really spoiled us, is what I'm saying. Like, the inclusion of hit markers in Call of Duty to give you that satisfying click when you land a shot, it ruined us. It ruined our ability to play shooters that didn't give us that.
Yeah.
Because we crave it. And I don't feel like this game had anything like that, to where you felt like that instant
satisfaction of the hit.
Satisfaction from landing a shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like the biggest problem with this game that I walked away from it was it needed a sequel and it never got one. Which is a pretty good flaw to have.
Yeah. Again, it's like you said, it's like if all I left thinking was I wish I had more of this, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. And it should have been co-op. It really should have been co-op. Oh my gosh. Can't even imagine what that would have been like.
So, as you are getting ready to play it, what sort of issues or concerns do you have going in with this one?
Well, if there's one thing I've learned doing forward compatible streams with Star Wars games, it's that I should be terrified of what issues my computer is going to have playing these games that are pre-2010.
Right. Yeah.
Just 'cause I'm worried about the optimization a little bit. Because I haven't play tested it yet. I've just made sure it can go to the main menu, so there are no like launch crashes or anything like that. So that's my main concern. I'm also a little concerned that, just like I said, probably my biggest concern is the gunplay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like back then it was before shooters had really
refined
to become rock solid, to where shooting and killing things in video games is an art form now.
Right.
Pretty much. And I'm afraid that this game is going to suffer from that, to where the gunplay is not going to be punchy or satisfying. And of course, there's always just the common worries of this game did not age well. But that's part of this. And I mean, just because a game came out a long time ago doesn't mean it can't deliver satisfying gameplay or story or something else. So that, like, we'll see. It could go either way, because this is definitely one of a kind in the realm of Star Wars. I don't feel like we ever got anything else like it. So I'm excited because it's nostalgic for me, but also it's just, it's a blend of a lot of things I love or did love at one point and just haven't gotten to really dive into for a while. So yeah, mainly optimization issues and gunplay, I think, are my two biggest concerns.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see you play this and what you think of it going forward and finishing it up. So if you're interested, like I said, Steven's going to be live streaming this game all week long. He'll be doing his full playthrough, and this is something we want you to be a part of. So if you join in, watch the live streams, leave comments, give us your thoughts as you're watching Steven play. A lot of what the review ends up being is thoughts from you guys as well. It's really important to us that you guys are involved and give your opinions and whatnot, and that sometimes it draws attention to something Steven may not have even noticed yet. So we appreciate all comments.
It helps me when writing the review script during the week, especially since it's such an active pace to where I'm writing the script while I'm playing the game. So I may realize something later on that I've already written a thing about. So it helps me when I'm playing this game if you guys notice things, because then I can make a note of it and be like, that was a good point. And if you ask me to credit you in the script, I'll do it. So
there you go.
Help me out.
There you go. Help him out. But anyway, the very first stream is going to be starting right after this. Maybe not right after this, but after this live stream tonight. So be sure to tune into that. Again, you can watch on YouTube. That's chortlegames.com. You can watch on Facebook at Chortle Games and Twitch, Chortle_games. But be sure to watch along, stick with us, and we'll have the review next Monday. So thanks for watching. We will see you soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.